Hi, I'm Renee and welcome back to Peonie and Me. Today I wanted to talk to you about a subject which is close to my heart, or should I say close to my pubic bone, and that is pelvic girdle pain, or SPD, which stands for Symphysis Pubis Disorder. That's what it used to be called, but now it's been rounded up as good old PGP. And basically what that is a condition which is affecting so many women at the moment that are pregnant. And basically what it is your pelvis, which is at the front, is sort of like shaped like this, and in the middle there is a muscle which holds it all together. And during your pregnancy, and historically later in your pregnancy, you would release a hormone which I believe is called relaxin, and that hormone would just relax that muscle, which would allow for your baby to come out. But what's happening now is that hormone is being released earlier and earlier and earlier. So what happens is as that softens, you either feel like a jarring in your pubic bone or your pelvis area, or you can or even hear like a clicking sensation as your pelvis is not got that support it normally has, or you can just feel lots of pain around your back, your lower back, as you're, I guess, overcompensating for that muscle in the front. And basically that's what it is. And I had that when I was pregnant with Henry, and unfortunately I've got it again pregnant with this new baby. And if you're wondering what we're having, I'll link up below for you to see the gender reveal, because we found out last week, so that's super exciting. So yeah, I've got PGP. I got it back this time around week 10, which was super early. Normally it's something which you suffer later on in your pregnancy as your bump gets bigger and bigger, and it's resting on that pubic bone, and again just giving that jarring. It hasn't got the strength there to really hold that bump. So yeah, it's really painful, and it can be excruciating at times. And unfortunately, some women get it so bad that they end up in a wheelchair, or if like me, on crutches, and really struggle just to get by or get around day to day. So I thought I'd share some tips today, and I am in no way a health expert or got any medical qualifications. This is something that I was diagnosed with by my GP and my midwife in my first pregnancy, and again subsequently I was diagnosed with it with this pregnancy. And I've had some physio, I've read up a lot online, I've spoken to other people that have suffered, and I've just generally just picked up loads of little hits and tips which I think should be a godsend if you have been diagnosed with PGP or SPD. But first things first, if you feel like any of the symptoms I talk about through this are something that you feel, please go and check with your doctor first, and your midwife, and talk that through, and if you can, get some physio help, because that will help tremendously. So what does it feel like? Well, first of all, I remember I was pregnant with Henry, and we went to York for the weekend to stay with our lovely friends Richard and Kelly, and I felt like I had the most horrendous water infection. I was around 14 weeks pregnant, and I just felt like I had just a pain just above my pubic bone, which it just felt like a water infection. Every time I went to the toilet, it seemed to relieve itself a little bit, but not greatly. So after our trip, I went to the doctors, and it's very adamant that I've got a water infection. I'd had them in the past, so the doctor was happy enough with that. So gave me some medication for it. It didn't go away. And then I went to see another doctor, and she was incredible. She knew instantly when she pressed down on my pubic bone that it was called SPD at the time, as I literally just screamed out. It was so painful. And yeah, she diagnosed me with that. And what it feels like is, it feels like someone's got a vice, put it underneath you, and it just slowly pulling your insides apart. And at the same time, there's a hammer just banging into your pubic bone. And then there's like a little hidden shelf on your back, and people are just putting loads of weight on it as the day goes by. It is so painful. Some days, if I've rested like all day, which is really hard because I've got a toddler and he's super fast, and I've I've got to get him in the car for nursery and stuff like that, and lifting him up to change him and things like that. So there are days where I can rest more, but there's still things I need to do. But on those days, the pain sort of, it's like a dull ache, and I sort of get by. But on days where, like I mentioned, say Henry's been playing up a little bit more, or it's a weekend and he's not at nursery, and I do have to be more hands-on with him, the time I get to bed, I am sobbing with agony. It is so painful. And for some reason, when you open your legs, it's just, oh, it's that vice feeling that's pulling you apart. It's like a burning, almost like it's like a really, really bad water infection feeling. And the only thing that sort of relieves it is keeping your legs together, and yeah, sort of sitting upright and things like that. So that's sort of how it feels. I know it feels different for different women. I know I've spoken to people that, and it's suffering, it's just around their back area, and yeah, that clicking feel. Oh, sometimes I walk around and I can just feel a click and I just want to vomit. It's such a really horrible feeling. Pardon me. So my tips. So yeah, tip number 1, which I got when I did physio, was do your pelvic floors. And I know everyone's rolling their eyes right now, or if you are pregnant, you're sitting there doing them, because I don't know what it is. As soon as someone said doing your pelvic floors, you suddenly started going and do stop clenching. Oh wait, by the way, your pelvic floors is not clenching your bum cheeks. Disclaimer there. But yeah, do your pelvic floors, because what that's going to do is just going to strengthen your core. It'll help after you've had the baby, which we know that's a huge help anyway. But yeah, it'll just give you that extra strength down below. And you should be doing that daily. So whether it's you making a cup of tea, for example, boil a kettle, while the kettle's boiling, just do those pelvic floors, or you're at traffic lights or anything like that. That's really important for just giving that extra strength. And if you can do it on a birthing ball, but please, if you're suffering with a lot of pain, get some help onto the ball. Try it again, try and keep those legs together, because that will help so much. Because yeah, as soon as you move your legs apart, the pain gets really, really, really excruciating. So things like when you are rolling out of bed, roll with your knees together and then just pop them on the floor and then stand up. If you are getting dressed, sit down, try and keep your legs together as you're putting on pants and things like that. When you're getting in the car, a great tip is to get a plastic carry bag, just pop that on the seat, and what that'll do is it'll just give you that less friction, so you can just swivel, knees together again and get off the car. But basically anything, and I'm just giggling to myself thinking of my husband, but anything you can do to keep your legs together is perfect. And other tips, so when I was pregnant with Henry, I would obsessively get a hot water bottle, and when it was really hot, I'd put it on my lower back, then as it cooled slightly, I'd put it on my pubic bone, and it would give me relief for a short while, and then I'd be in agony again. Similar, I'd get a really nice warm bath, get in the bath, feel great, 10-15 minutes later, the pain would be back again. And I didn't realise what the heat was doing. It was just relaxing the muscle even more. So I'd get all relaxed and cosy, and then as soon as I'm up and about again, my all the muscles that were holding me together would just be super, super soft, and then the agony would just be so much worse. So when I have physio, they recommended that you use cold things. So like a bag, so get some peas, like frozen peas, put them into like a sandwich bag or into an old sock or something like that, and then just literally put it on your pubic bone, and that will just strengthen that muscle so much better than heat would. I've not done that one yet. I don't know what it is about putting peas on your pubic bone. My poor husband sits there with me anyway, looking dreadful of an evening, so I don't know how he feel about me just popping some peas down there. But you know what? Never say never. I feel like as I get bigger and bigger, those peas are going to be coming out a lot. And then what else is a great tip? So yeah, so when you are diagnosed, a lot of the time they give you something called tubie grip, which is this stuff. It's like a giant bandage, like a big giant tube here, and it's got latex in. And what I'll do is I'll insert how it's worn here. But basically, you put that on and you layer it up, and what it does is it gives you extra support for your bump. So as you get bigger and bigger, obviously you get more and more strain on your pubic bone, which is not great. That pubic grip just really gives you just that slight lift that you need just to get by day to day. I must be honest, when some days it's great and I'm all for it, and some days it just doesn't quite do it. So on those days, I've also got this great big like belt. Sorry if you can hear banging. Ben, my husband's just doing some gardening at the moment. So yeah, it got this big band, and again I'll insert here how it's worn. And basically that belt just heaves up all my bump and just takes all that weight off my pelvis and my pubic bone. And oh my god, the relief is so good. But the problem is it's not good for sitting down, so it's something where you're out and about. So what I do now is when I drop Henry at nursery, or I'm picking him up, or for whatever reason we're out and about, I literally just get that band, pop it right on, get that lift once I'm out the car, and then it's great. But yeah, unfortunately it's not great for sitting around. It doesn't sit quite well, but the tuber grip is great for that. And if you are suffering at night, you can wear your tuber grip at night as well. So other tips. So my first pregnancy with Henry, I ploughed on. I was very much career focused. I wanted to progress at work. I wanted to show that nothing was going to hold me down, and I just ploughed on through the pain until I think about 4 weeks before my due date I had to finish work because I couldn't move anymore. Unfortunately, the pain this time, when it came back in my second pregnancy, the one I'm having now, when that pain came back so early, like week 10, it felt like week 30, week 33, 34. It was so painful. So I must have been around 16, 17 weeks when I went for physio, and I got crutches, and they are fantastic. Two main reasons why they're great. One, because it just helps you walk. You're taking that strain off your bump again because you're not putting so much pressure on your legs. Your arms doing a lot of the work, which is great for the old bingo wings. But the other thing which I never thought I would imagine it would be such a good positive was people can see you're struggling, and you can be quite proud, and you sort of say to yourself or to other people, I'm fine, I can do it. But crutches really shout out, you're not great, you're not doing so well, you need a hand. Yeah, so the crutches have been a godsend for those two reasons. They don't look attractive, they're just there, and it's so awkward because you've not got a cast on your leg or any type of fancy shoe to show that you've had some footwork done. So people tend to look straight down at your feet and wonder what's wrong. But listen, it helps me get around, so I've stopped being so self-conscious. But one thing I did find was when I got the crutches, I couldn't carry a handbag, so you struggle with things like that. So I've got a backpack, and again I can just pop anything I need, like just my purse and my keys and stuff. So if I need to go to a shop or wherever, I've got my backpack on and I can still work with my crutches. And Henry's also got one of those ladybird backpacks with like reins, so that's always good if I need to get from the car across a road or whatever to go to my nan's house, for example. I can just put the reins on him and still got the crutches and still feel safe and secure with Henry. But generally I don't go out much now. I try to stay in as much as possible just so I can reserve as much energy and stuff as possible so I can look after Henry at night. But on the odd occasion where we do go out, like his birthday, it was not long ago, anything like the bump bands, the tuber grip and the crutches, literally they're all little godsends. So they're like my main tips. My other tips are more birth related. Now again, every woman's different and I'm no expert on this, but when I was induced, because Henry went 10 days over, when I was induced with Henry, and the induction process, I don't know if you've been induced before or you're hopefully it's something that you don't have to do. It's quite intense and your contractions come quick and fast, really quick, and or whether even if you're not induced and you go into natural labour, as your contractions develop and get closer together and more stronger, that pain I do not remember. I don't remember any of it. I couldn't tell you what it felt like, but oh my goodness, I could tell you detail to detail how awful my SPD felt at that time. I remember being on the bed, and I did NCT classes, and it was all about getting yourself into different positions, because naturally lying down was not great for gravity to get your baby out. So things like standing up, getting on all fours, just any other position, sitting at the end of the bed, I couldn't do it. I just couldn't do it. The pain was just so intense down there, and it was just the SPD. And I remember going to the toilet and just sobbing my heart out on the toilet because I was in so much pain, and it wasn't the contractions. And even though when I had diamorphine, which took the edge off the contractions, I could still feel the SPD or PGP, and it was just so painful. So and in hindsight, I probably should have had an epidural, but it was something I decided I was deadly against. Thanks, Mum. My mum had told me that it causes all kinds of back problems later in life, so I was very much against having an epidural, but that would have helped so much in terms of the pain. You can work through it. I'm not saying you can't. I know so many women with it, and they've had perfectly natural births and they've got through, but they do say that when you spread your legs apart and the pain just gets that too much, get the doctor to measure that. So when you go into labour and it's time to deliver, they know your threshold for opening your legs. Same whether you're having a C-section, they know how far they can open your legs without causing any further damage after you have your baby. I was very lucky. It must have been a day or two after Henry was born, and the pain completely went away. I didn't have it anymore. Unfortunately, the memory of it stayed, and I've been so anxious about having a second baby because I just knew the pain was going to come back, and it did, and unfortunately come back far worse. And I know this sounds like such a doom and gloom video, and I didn't mean it to be. There are ways you can and things you can do to help relieve the pain, but at the end, when you hold that baby, it's so worth it. Twice, only twice. It's so worth it, and I just couldn't do without Henry, and I'm super excited for this pregnancy. And unfortunately, my camera just completely cut out, and I can't remember what I was rambling on about, so I'm going to take this opportunity to finish the video here. I hope this has been helpful. I'll link some links down below and a blog post I've also done on this from my previous pregnancy, again with some more tips on. And thank you so much for tuning in, and if you want to see some more videos from Peonie and Me, please hit that subscribe button, and if you like this video, give it the thumbs up, and thank you for tuning in. Bye!